brought somebody with me.
I see that.
Hey,
Hey, Brent,
everybody
how's it
at
going,
home
man?
listening? We got basically the man of A3 Archery Custom Bowstrings. Brent, he's on board with us. We're going to do a show with him and find out all about strings because I have many questions.
I have a ton of questions. I hope you're ready to be berated by questions here because we got a lot. We've got my first one is, how did you get to make a string that requires no wax?
So that's not us. So that is the fiber is made by Bloodline Fiber.
Okay.
So they're in Minnesota, Twin Cities area.
Oh, nice. And they just make a material that doesn't require any wax or any basically no maintenance, right?
No maintenance at all.
It's like a Dyneema based one or something, isn't it?
They have a few different fiber options, but yeah, the B99, what they call it, is what we prefer.
Nice. Yeah. So it's Dyneema, you were saying?
It's SK99, which is the highest grade Dyneema that you can get.
Okay. Beauty. Yeah, no, it's super interesting because it's always like you're always trying to drag the serving up to like get the wax out and then re-wax them, and it's kind of a pain, and then dirt gets in there because it's sticky and drives you crazy, right? But yeah, it's super great, man.
You know, a lot of people don't understand, but dust and dirt is like the main thing that drives the bowstring down. I mean, that is the main culprit of, because it's not just what you see on the outside, it's internal as well. So you have internal and external abrasion that happens with a wax fiber that collects dust and dirt.
Yeah, when that dirt gets in between the fibers that you can't, there's no way to get that out either. Like the best you can do is, like you say, drag some serving up and pull the wax out.
Yep, it's called burnishing. You know, I mean, yeah, with the Bloodline stuff, I mean, you can wipe it off with a damp cloth.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man.
It's so simple.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
simple.
When you're at hunt camp or something, like simple is exactly what's required.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. We do still, use 452X. That will never go away, but I'll say that we probably run 99% Bloodline here in the shop.
Oh yeah, mostly, hey?
Yeah, 99% is what we build.
Yeah. Yeah, no, what is how long does it take you to make a set of strings and cables, like from start to finish?
So actual work time, it's about 45 minutes.
Oh, that's it, eh?
Yeah.
Oh,
now
wow.
You add in the
longer.
steps in between the pre-cycle technology that we do. A lot of companies out there pre-stretch their bowstrings, but they're pre-stretching them for a prescribed amount of time, call it 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. We pre-cycle them. So the string, it's all computer-based, automated. So the string is actually telling the computer when it is done, not the other way around.
Oh, so I see. So instead of just putting it on a stretching board, you cycle those strings and the computer collects data from the string and basically, so what does that process look like? Like a cycle, and then you relax it and it goes back to a certain amount, and then the computer picks up how much stretch is remaining?
So the way that works is it cycles, it goes through one complete phase. But that cycle, instead of just a statically stretched bowstring, right, that's just held under one tension, our process, what we built and we developed, is it dynamically stretches the string, right? It goes up and down. So we're actually working that fiber back and forth, and it goes through a series of cycles, and then it goes to the next phase.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Then at the end of every cycle, it's taking a measurement, and then once that measurement is done three times consecutively, then it says, okay, I've got all the movement that I can get out. I'm gonna shut this cylinder down.
That's genius, hey?
Pretty slick.
Yeah, what a process.
But I thought it was longer than 45 minutes. Jeez.
We were actually speculating before you came on. Like we were like, I wonder how long it takes to make a set of strings. Like, is it 12 hours? Like I was saying to Gary, I was like, I think like they stretch them overnight, right? But
so a lot of builders will tell you that we stretch them for 12 hours or we stretch them for 24. And great if they do. They're really a small company. Okay.
Right.
Because they can afford to let something sit on a stretcher for 12 hours or 24 hours. Right. The process that we develop, it still takes time, but the pre-stretching process is the bottleneck of the bowstring building industry.
Right.
So, that is your Achilles heel, right? You have to wait on that to be done before you can serve the bowstring.
Right.
So, if you hear people say that, they're doing it for 12 hours, 24 hours, whatever, if they're a larger company producing a lot of bowstrings, they're probably telling you a lie.
Right, because there's no way you can stretch them for that amount of time and keep up with demand for strings. It just can't happen, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. So what made you get into building bowstrings? So what was the thought process?
Well, the number one driver was my dad back when I was about 12 years old. He owned an archery shop. He built his own bowstrings. When I got of age, it was like, okay, well, I have somebody else that can do that. So that's what got me into it. But then I built bowstrings for many years after that, all the way into my teenage years, 16, 17 years old. Life gets busy, and I started tournament shooting and having a full-time job and a wife and a family, and you don't have time for that anymore. So I went back out to buying bowstrings, and 10, 12 years of buying bowstrings and always getting something that I wasn't completely satisfied with.
Right.
So, here we are today. I can remember my wife and I having a conversation around a campfire going, I think I'm going to go back to building my bowstring, because I just wasn't getting the quality that I expect.
Yeah.
So yeah, 4 years ago, we launched a very small company, basically a hobby. We were selling like 10 sets a week. We put a cap, like a cap on it. Once we sold 10 sets a week, that was it.
Right.
But the demand kept growing and growing and growing. And 3 weeks after launching a company, we went international.
Oh, wow. Hey.
Yeah.
You guys did take off. Like, I remember hearing about you a few years ago, and then it was just like, it was A3, 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 and you've grown in such popularity. And it must be it's a testament to how good your strings are, right?
Well,
people love them.
It keeps us humble. Honestly, we just keep building quality string, and that's all it is. That's what it is.
Yeah. So how many would you say you're making a day currently now?
We do about 12, 14 sets a day.
12 or 14 a day, hey?
Yep.
Wow.
That's what, 3 people?
Nope, that's just me and the wife.
Oh, just you guys, that's it, eh?
Oh, that's it. Wow.
A3 is, we tried to hire people. We tried to train people. The last couple people that we hired another husband and wife team, thinking that was, they've been in the industry for a while. They've built some bowstrings. It would be an easy fit.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, after $25,000 in losses, we decided to say, you know what, we're just going to keep it Brent and Amanda.
Yeah. It's just nobody will take care of it like you do, right?
No, that's the thing is we bring people in, we increase production, but the quality falls off the backside. It's like that's not what we did. That's not what we started.
Right. And you obviously you want your strings to be as high quality as possible because that's what you're known for. And to deviate from that is just won't work, right?
Yeah. I mean, we started the company on wanting a quality bowstring and hiring people, and we saw quality go downhill. And that's where you see a lot of the companies today that have gotten bigger, their quality has went down.
Yeah. That's a shame because that's almost the metric for everything, right? Like the bigger something gets, for some reason, the quality tends to dwindle over time.
Well, if anything, it's even simply an odds thing, right? Like if you build 1 million of anything, odds are you're going to have more of them turn out bad than if you made 10,000 of something.
Yeah. But if and like Brent said, if you're not doing it yourself, it's nobody takes care of it like the owner does, right? It just doesn't work that way.
Amanda and I, we touch and look at every set of bowstrings that comes in here or goes out of here. I mean, we are A3. We're the company. We're the owners. This is what pays our bills. So
Yeah.
we make
So
sure that there's nothing but quality that leaves the door.
yeah. So if you're getting a set of A3 bowstrings, it's gone through your hands or your wife's hands.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
the quality is going out there, and they're done correctly because you're the ones who did them.
Yep.
Yeah, that's impressive. That's unreal.
This whole clear option too, by the way.
Oh,
I'm
cool.
all about that.
How did that come about?
So you're talking about the clear serving?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's so cool.
Clear serving is actually white fiber, right? It's just braided white serving, but when you serve it tight, it turns clear.
Oh.
So there is a downside to white, right? Because it still is white, right? But it turns opaque or clear. But it is the first thing to get dirty.
Oh,
right?
I see what you're
It
saying.
still is white fiber, and it will, your fingers touching it, it will start turning brown or tan.
That's a good point.
You put your cam in the dirt, you just put a brown spot.
That's a good point.
Yeah, the game is basically over then, right?
Yep.
So, Brent, what are you shooting right now for a bow?
So, Gearhead Archery is like 45 minutes south of here, and Skip and I have been friends for a long time. So,
they make
we support local.
Yep.
And we shoot. I shoot a Gearhead. It's the B34, 34-inch axle. But they do make. I think he makes an 18-inch.
Yeah, it's a little tiny thing.
Yeah, it's a shoot through riser, right?
I've got. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I shoot mine. I've got mine set up at about 83.5 pounds of draw weight. So it's a monster.
Yeah, that's heavy. Yeah, no kidding, eh?
Yeah.
They're all shoot through risers too, right?
They are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Any deer hunting done this year?
Yeah, I've filled every doe tag that I've got. So I
really?
5.
You got 5 in the bag already?
Yeah.
Whoo!
Yep.
We don't even.
I'm waiting
to find 5 tags.
The buck to come back on camera during the daytime because since we took the corn down and baled the corn, the corn stalks and all that stuff, just kind of changed their routine up. They just went nocturnal.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow, eh?
Kind of waiting to start seeing pictures during the daytime, and then I'll get back to hunting. But our season goes all the way to February, January 31st. So that's still got a little bit of time.
When does it start?
First weekend of September.
What? First week to September to all the way into the end of January.
Yeah.
Canadians are so messed up for this stuff,
archery season is continuous, right? So you have, your 1 week of gun, your 1 week of black powder, then it goes, to nothing other than archery season. And, Christmas, there's like a week or a 4-day antlerless only hunt. But bow season is continuous from the start to the finish.
No kidding, eh?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's even better than moose season back home.
It is, yeah. Yeah, you guys down there, you know how to do it right. We don't get anywhere near, like, the tags up here are so much harder to get, Brent, and we don't get as many tags. Like, I think I've got 3 tags this year, which is a real rarity. I was super lucky to get the additional tag and a doe tag. Usually it's 1 buck tag.
Really? Wow.
And that's pretty much
so
your limit.
We can kill a buck. You can kill a buck during archery, and you can kill a buck during rifle.
Wow.
And then because we are classified as agricultural, because we live on a farm.
Yeah.
We can get extra doe tags at, like, I don't know, they're cheap, $10, something like that per tag.
$10.
Nowhere near that I think it's like $50 for a doe tag here.
Oh wow! No,
or something like
I think
that.
my total licensing.
No, for a doe, you got to enter a draw.
$100.
Yeah, $100. Yeah, yeah. You have to enter a draw, but then you still have to pay for it up here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you get lucky if you get through the draw, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's and obviously you do like a lot of food plots, and you jig the farm. So that
this year we changed it up a little bit. What we found last year was, the deer were heavy in here preseason, and they kind of moved out a little bit. But what we did this year, we actually planted 15 acres of food plot. And probably 6 of that is like a high sugar, content corn,
Fatten them up.
along with soybeans and stuff like that. But what we find is in the soybeans and in the corn, they're actually bedding in that. So
okay, they're bedding in the corn.
We gave them natural bedding, so they're actually bedding in the corn. And it, but we just let it go and we let it stand all year. I'll take it down next spring when it comes time to.
Oh, you won't take it down until the spring.
Nope, I won't take it down. That's and then we planted the rest of it's in like turnips and radishes and sugar beets. So,
oh, no kidding.
What happens with that stuff is after the first freeze or the first couple freezes, those things turn sweet.
Oh, the frost turns them, eh?
Yep. So the deer will feed on that all winter long. So it gives them a good carbohydrate source to feed all through the winter and produce good youngins and have a healthy population.
Yeah, no doubt. So
you still get a good bit of snow there too, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you manage your deer population pretty closely on the farm, eh?
Yep. I mean, last year we didn't have the doe to buck ratio that we had this year. This year we had just tons and tons of does. This year was time to thin them out a little bit. That's why I've got 5 does.
Right.
Last year only shot 2. So.
Right.
That seems to be a pretty common thing that I've heard this year is just does everywhere.
Yeah. We've had a real problem here with like getting bucks on camera or get like anything at all. Like they've been so rare, and when you do see them, they're basically nocturnal, right? They're hitting the cams at like 10:30 at night, 11:45
in the morning.
Yeah, you're not getting anything coming in at daylight.
Currently here, it's like the 11 o'clock to 2 a.m. Buck movement. We're not seeing anything in the daylight.
Why do you think that is? Like, what? I mean, we're pretty new to deer hunting because we don't have them back where we originally are from. But why is it that they kind of go nocturnal so hard?
I blame this area because the drought, for one. We went into a severe drought this year, and the corn that was planted typically would be out by end of October. It's gone. It's done.
Okay.
But this year it stood longer. It actually stood through the rut. So I think that a lot of deer and a lot of deer movement was hidden by corn.
Right.
Those does and stuff, they get in that corn and they live there. There's no reason to come out of it.
Yeah.
All the deer that we see, while the corn was up, they were just eating green around the edges.
Right.
And they would go right back in the corn and bed down. So there was really no reason for them to leave it. So I read yesterday that we had like a 20% decrease in deer kill during rifle season this year compared to other years.
Oh,
and
really?
A lot of it's because the corn stayed up.
Right. And so they're, like you say, they're bedding up in the corn. They're hanging out there, and that's where they're staying. It's funny you mentioned that because I shot a doe November 3rd, and I was hunting a strip of public land in between 2 ag fields. And one of those fields had the corn still on it. And I was sure I had one 6-point buck cruising through there every so often that would hit the camera. And I'm sure he must have been hanging out in that corn and staying there. And he only cruised through that piece of public land like once every 2 weeks. And that was it.
I can guarantee you that, he was bedded down in there. And, I've seen these bucks push does into the corn and kind of stash them out,
Right.
So seriously, you'll see them push them in the corn and they go back to running, and they'll catch another doe and push her in the corn.
Because there's no reason to leave, right?
A lot of deer just weren't seen this year because of the corn and all the standing agriculture.
Yeah, because there's no reason to leave it, right? That's your food source, your bed, your cover. You're good.
Yep.
No reason to deviate.
Get water. So if you got a water source that's close, which we do, we have probably over 3/4 of a mile of river on our property. So
yeah,
there's plenty of water everywhere.
Yeah, it's funny because that strip of land that I was hunting in the center of the valley was a creek that ran through there. And the only time I would get him on cam every now and then was down on the cam by the water.
Yep.
So that's where he was hitting the water source every now and then when he wasn't finding another one somewhere else.
Yep. That's it.
Yeah.
buzzing right back in the corn.
Wow.
They're not like moose, I'll tell you that.
They're nothing like moose. No,
no, they're nothing like moose, man. We've done a few moose hunts in Montana. We lived in Montana for about 5 years, so we got the moose and the elk and the muleys, the whole experience there. So
yeah,
we still go back to Montana. I haven't went in 2 years, but I plan on going this next season.
Yeah, I bet you that's a different game. Hey, like Montana's
it'll humble you.
Different world.
I bet it will.
Those mountains will humble you.
Yeah, they're legit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're from in Newfoundland. Where it's pretty mountainous terrain as well.
Is it?
Yeah.
Its elevation changes are frequent and steep,
drastic,
and a lot all the time.
Sounds like Montana.
Yeah, it's a little rocky. Like we have a lot of rocky terrain as well, like real barren and stuff like that. So we grew up caribou hunting, moose hunting, and bear, because those are the only 3 big game animals we have there.
That's it. That's all you got.
But we were so fortunate, Brent, in the fact that we could get a set of moose tags every other year. So, which is so rare.
Rotate. One gets one year, one gets one the next year. Right?
He would get a caribou tag one year, I would get a moose tag one year, and then we would swap the next year. Yep. And when we talk about it with guys here in Ontario, they get a little they're kind of jealous of it, because getting a moose tag here is about a decade wait.
Oh, for sure.
You might wait 8 to 10 years to get a set of tags.
Yeah.
And
wow.
we got to accumulate points here, right?
Yeah.
Caribou is still on my bucket list. I have not killed one. That is one animal that's on my bucket list.
I don't have it with an archery. I don't have an archery caribou yet, but that's pretty much my dream hunt is archery caribou.
Yeah, we were primarily rifle hunters back there. Archery is not really big back in Newfoundland yet.
No.
Because of the terrain, mostly it is very hard to get within 60 yards or something. But our goal is within the next 2 or 3 years we do have a moose hunt potentially coming up this year back there, and then hopefully the next year or two we're going to do a caribou hunt back there, which would be.
We'll have to get you guys here to Wisconsin, do a whitetail hunt. I think.
We'd love to.
Out of state tag,
absolutely, we are in for that.
Yeah. What's an out of state tag go for roughly?
160.
Oh, that's not.
That's still
It's so funny because I always expect it to be very expensive.
No,
and it never is.
This is probably one of the cheapest states that we've ever lived in. It's like $160 to, you can come kill your buck and you can buy an extra doe tag or two, while you're here.
That's amazing.
See, for me, I live really close to the Quebec border. For me to go just right over the border there and shoot a Quebec deer, it's like $568.
Yep. It's bonkers. What? It's bonkers.
Yeah.
What do we mean? What are we talking about here?
Yeah. It's actually cheaper for us because British Columbia here is one of the few provinces you don't require a guide to hunt. You just need a sponsor, like a resident that lives there. It's cheaper for me and him to go do a mountain goat hunt in the mountains of British Columbia than it is to go in our neighboring province to shoot a whitetail.
That's insane.
Isn't that crazy? It's $350 for a set of for a mountain goat tag.
Yeah.
It kind of it baffles you a little bit, to think about the fact that things are so expensive.
We go to Montana, out of state tag in Montana for what they call the big game package, right? So that gets you, so it gets you your big game, and there's a plus package you can get your upland bird. You could do some trout fishing, but it's just under, or last year it was just under $1,000.
But that's
unbelievable.
4 different species, basically, right?
Yeah, I mean that gets you your elk, that gets you your deer, and they classify deer as deer, so you could go shoot a whitetail or a mule deer.
Oh, either
nice,
either or, right? Then it gets you your upland bird, which if you want to shoot a grouse or something.
Yeah, loves me a grouse.
Yeah, we always do that because you're always going to shoot some grouse while you're elk hunting for sure.
Yeah,
that little helicopter.
I think grouse is one of the best eating things in the world. I think they're so overlooked.
They are. We call them camp food because that's what we, we'll shoot a couple here or there a day, and
step on the wings,
during the night. So,
Oh yeah, they're some of the best eaten bird ever, I think. In my opinion, man. We used to. That's all we did. That's how we cut our teeth back home in Newfoundland, right? Is you get a pellet gun, you go grab something. That's your job. From like 12 years old to like 15 until you can have a firearm to go do it, right?
Then you get to 22 and
then we get graduated to probably around 16 years old. You get a 22 and the old man says, don't get caught with it because you're not supposed to
kill
nobody.
Yeah.
Don't kill no dogs.
So, back on bowstrings. So we've been doing a lot of testing. So we're testing right now. We're testing 452, and I'll tell you a little bit about the test. So it's what they call a yarn on yarn test. So a yarn on yarn test, basically, there's a motor that runs on a kind of like a fulcrum. So it sits there and runs. But it runs through a series of pulleys, and at the bottom pulley, the fiber actually loops onto itself. Okay, so it's kind of twisted onto itself, and so it's just basically rubbing on itself is all it's doing. And so what that tells us is if we run it in like a time increment, say 2 hours, and then we run the Bloodline for 2 hours, and then we take a look at both fibers and we see which one has the better abrasion resistance.
Right.
So we're going to do some tests. We're going to actually video it and stuff like that. But as a teaser, the 452X is probably what most bows come with from the factory, right?
Yeah.
OEM strings, what most builders build with. At 2 hours, this is almost a failure.
Oh, okay.
So it's almost rubbed almost in two. It's almost the failure. At 2 hours, if this was still on a spool, I would build a bowstring with it.
Really, eh?
So we let this run on accident. I forgot about it, completely forgot about it. And I was sitting in the main house, and I went, oh, crap. So I run back over here and look at the clock. It's been 4 hours and 40 minutes, and it's still running. And I would still build a bowstring with it. It still looked brand new.
That's amazing. So
what's your projected, like, not shelf life, but like, what's your projected like life span for a set of strings?
That's always a loaded question, and we get that question a lot. How much longer are they going to last me, right? So if you take care of your bowstrings, you're not out there beating the brush with it or rubbing up against the pine tree. We've got some professional shooters that shoot a bow for a living, that are clocking somewhere around 60,000 shots through them over 2 years.
Oh my God.
So, the proof is in the pudding. I mean, we can do all the tests we want, but, we've got shooters out there that are still shooting bowstrings that are almost 3 years old.
Well, that's
for most people who shoot, that's a lifetime string.
Absolutely, because they break it out of the case, they dial it in, and they go shoot. But one thing I'll say about us and pre-cycle is once you set it up and you time it and you just forget about it. There's no breaking out of the case the next year and checking my timing to say, okay, well, I got to twist up some cables. They're never going to come out of time.
Right.
Because nothing ever stretches, right? A lot of people misconstrue stretch when they get into different temperatures. Okay. So if you're shooting your bow there in Canada and you got a good hot 80-degree day and you're dialing your bow in, well, come deer season, middle of the rut, when we're in freezing temperatures, right? You have a thing called wax deformation. Okay. And wax deformation means the wax that's in this bowstring, when it gets cold, it contracts. And if the cables and string and all don't contract in equal measure, then your timing is out.
Yeah.
Okay. When you don't have wax, you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, that's a good point, man.
We use the analogy like we use the Southerners, the Texans and all, where they're sighting their bows in and it's 115 degrees outside. But then they go fly to Colorado or Montana somewhere to go hunt, and they get to 10,000 feet. And it's cold. Well, they don't have to worry about their bow losing time or anything. It's still going to shoot just like they were in Texas.
Yeah, no movement, no nothing. That's unbelievable.
So why is not every bowstring made of that?
Well, so it's harder to build with. Because by nature, it is so slippery. It's so slick to feel. when you try to get, when you're just going around the four post or you're trying to get serving to tie in, it's slippery. And so it takes longer to build with.
Right. How many?
So,
go ahead.
So I guess what I was going to say is, we, we build with it because of the quality. I don't care how much longer it takes me to build with it, right? We can adjust our prices to make it work, and still not, completely hurt the economy. But I mean, our bowstrings are built with this, and we're probably some of the most affordable bowstrings on the market today.
100%, absolutely.
Yeah, you're not wrong on that.
Yeah,
you're getting a better bowstring.
Yeah, you're no higher price than any other bowstring. But you're right in the ballpark of everybody else.
Yeah, but you're not getting this, right? You're not getting just one style of fiber. You're getting a choice of 3 different fibers, and this is the one that's going to last you longer and perform better.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, how many strands in a string with the Bloodline stuff? Is it roughly the same as a regular string?
No, sir.
No.
Nope. When we run the B99 to meet the same outer diameter as a 452 string, so the 452X, you're going to have about 22 to 24 strands, right, depending on the color.
Okay.
So, the brighter colors, the bigger, bolder colors, you might have to drop 2 strands out to meet the diameter.
Right. I was going to ask you that, if different colors make a difference.
It does. It makes a huge difference. With the Bloodline, the coating and the pigment's all in one, so all the fibers are the same diameter. So we're going to build a 24-strand string. The equivalent is going to be 32 strands.
Oh, okay.
Right? So, what does that give you? Right? It gives you a rounder string.
Yeah.
Right, for sure. Of course, yeah.
So it's going to make it rounder, which, I personally, can't really see it, but we've had a lot of customers say that their draw cycle's smoother and the shot feels better. And the only thing I can attribute that to is a rounder bowstring. I don't know.
Right. It just fits better because it's rounder. It's correct, right?
So your center serving is the main thing that we look at, because if you have a rounder bowstring, your center serving is going to be, pretty much the same all the way across.
Right.
When you go lesser strands, bigger, thicker material, you end up with like kind of octagonal.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, take zebra bowstrings, for example. They're a great example of that, because like you look at mine, and even though mine draws smooth and all that's nice and everything, but like the way their strings and cables are twisted, it looks chunky.
It looks ropey. We use the term ropey.
Very ropey, yes.
Yeah. So this stuff here lays down. Going back to ropey versus non-ropey, that also depends on which way they twist the bowstring. So we can get off in a little bit of a rabbit hole on this one, but
sure.
So BCY twists their string material in what they call an S weave.
Okay.
And that's just the way that the fiber is weaved together. Bloodline twist in a Z weave. Okay. So, and then the way that we twist the bowstring, we twist in an S weave.
Okay.
So we're twisting kind of against that material. Okay.
Oh,
Most builders out there will twist in an S. Okay, because that's just the way most builders build, is in a basically right-handed. If you're looking at the motor, it's twisting right. Okay. So this is an S. When you twist an S on an S, right, the fibers are standing outside. When you twist an S with a Z, the fibers are straight up and down with the axial of the string.
Okay.
So it does 2 things, right? It makes the axial stiffness tighter, which is going to transfer more energy to your shaft and produce higher speed, better performance, right? But because they're straight up and down, it's also going to make it more abrasion resistant.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So you probably get a little bit more, a touch of extra speed out of your strings as well.
We do. So the Bloodline Fiber, we see about 6 feet on average.
6 feet, eh?
Yeah. The PSC, some of the PSC models, depending on which cam you have, and what draw length you're at. We've seen up to 11 to 13.
Wow. And
Yeah.
would that be on some of the more aggressive cammed PSEs?
The Omen was the one that we heard all the great things about. It was the Omen. You know, and
yeah.
the first time we heard it, we're like, okay, buddy, you know, is your axle to axle correct?
Yeah.
Right? Is your brace height correct? What's the peak poundage? Did I mess up, you know, and build you a short cable setup, you know, where your poundage is 6 pounds heavier or something crazy?
Yeah.
And, you know, he was like, no. And it's like the same week, another guy calls. He's like, dude, you're getting 12 feet per second.
Really?
I'm like, there's no way. You got 12. He's like, yes. You know, and then like the next week is like a guy calls. He's like, yeah, I'm getting 10. I'm like, holy smokes, you know.
That's substantial.
But those are the bows that we've seen the most speed out of was the PSE Omen.
You must have been happy to hear that though when you get the phone call.
Like 5 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brace height, sure, yeah. But yeah, that must be an exciting phone call to get. You're like, man, I just got 10 extra feet per second by swapping bowstrings.
Like I said, you know, you almost call it a fluke. And then you get another phone call and then another phone call. And it's like, you know, okay, I'm going to reach out to PSC, you know, and I did. At the last ATA, I talked to some of the PSC guys and I'm like, I don't know what it is, you know, but it just boils down to it's a super efficient boat.
Yeah,
you know,
fair enough.
You put a super efficient set of strings on it, you get great results.
Yeah. Have you ever been contacted or thought about like building strings for a bow company to like have them on their their stock equipment?
So we did that a couple of years ago. We were building the Obsession bowstrings.
Okay.
And you know, honestly, we would probably still be building them, but you know, their organizational skills and nothing bad about it. It's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
As a small company, you know, we couldn't keep up with the misorganization of, you know, because it wasn't like, you know, here is one bow, build me 300 sets.
Right.
Here is another bow, build me 300 sets. It was like an order with 12 different bows that ranged 10 years.
Oh my God.
And build me one with this color and one with this color. And, you know, it was like, no, we can't keep doing this, guys. If you want, you know, an orange string for 300 bows, yeah, let's do it. But,
yeah,
you know, we just a retooling and constantly retooling, and it just didn't work for us.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like if Bowtech wanted you, for example, to say, hey, we want you to build the strings for our 2 new flagship bows, just build both sets of strings and build them black. And that's something that's doable for you. But to do
the tooling doesn't change and the fiber doesn't change, and we can just rock those out. But yeah, when you start like slinging me all over the place, and like the next day we get another order that's got a lot of the same bows on it that, you know, they're on the first order. It's like, holy smoke, guys, you know, get with the program.
Yeah, you got to be organized.
But we couldn't keep it up.
So, no, that would be.
But we've had other companies, you know, reach out and say, hey, can you build us 50,000 sets of strings? And I'm like, no, we're not that company.
50,000.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
That's a hard no to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be. Jesus, that's insane. 50,000 sets of strings. You'd be day and night just cranking strings out.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to hire literally a day and night crew and probably, you know, 6 to 12 people, you know, running days and nights, just to hit that, because you got to hit that in such a small window, right?
Right.
Because they need them now, right?
Right, for the launch of their bows or whatever. Yeah, it can't be behind, right?
That's right.
Jeez.
So what is there plans for expansion? Are you trying to figure out how to like to make it bigger without losing the quality, or are you?
So we've got some ideas. We've got them on paper right now. Some of them are kind of in the very rough phases of fabrication, but we do have some plans, some automation type plans.
Okay.
So where we can automate some more stuff. So we'll see how that goes, and you know, cross our fingers it works and the quality stays up. You know, because the first thing I think of when I think automation is like, I'm not touching this.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You're not, hands are not on it, and right.
Yeah. How do I know? Like, no.
Exactly. And it's like, you know, the serving will always be done by hand. You know, it's done on motors, but we're always going to be touching that. But the layup process is what we're trying to automate now.
Right.
So, you know, that'll definitely speed things up.
I've got a funny feeling you're only going to keep going up from here, and the demand for your strings is just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
The only downside to it, to us versus another company, because we get the phone calls, well, XYZ company can get them to me in a week. Our downside is our lead time. So,
right.
If you can plan, right? Oh, I'm going to need new bowstrings. Well, go ahead and get them ordered.
Yeah.
Don't order them and expect them in a week because I got to go on a hunting trip in a week. You should have already known you had an issue, right?
Yeah, you got to
And that's
plan
the
your
biggest
shit
thing
there.
is our lead times are typically about 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
We're getting better. I think by the end of next week we'll be sub 2. So we're all getting better lead times now. But yeah, it's just been crazy.
That happens so often though that guys like hunting season's creeping up on them and they're like, oh, I need new strings or I need a tune done, and then they're calling you and saying, hey, can you get me? And I'm like, well, why didn't you drop your bow off to me a month ago?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I could
Or
have got
when
that
hunting
done for you.
season ended last year.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
why didn't you order your strings and have them in your back pocket? They can sit wherever.
Yeah, they're not going to go bad.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's yeah.
Yeah. But other things on like bowstring manufacturing is the serving that we use.
Right.
How important is serving?
Huge.
It's huge,
Holds
right?
everything
It's protector of your bowstring, right?
Yeah.
So the serving that we use, you see our post out there on social media, we serve our end loops, right?
Yep.
We serve that with an 8,000th diameter material, super teeny, tiny, tiny small, but it's actually braided.
Oh, really?
It's braided material.
Okay.
It's a braided spectrum material. So we serve that loop with that little small material. So if you get any dirt, dust around that loop on that cam post, you're not going to have a problem, right? It's not going to wear through the string. It'll wear through the serving before it wears through the string. But the end servings that we use, we swapped over last year to what we call BOA ice. So it's actually a Bloodline product. But what's cool about it is everybody knows what Halo is.
Mm-hmm.
So Halo serving, right? So Halo is a hollow core serving. It's braided, but it's hollow core. And my thought was, why can't we put a core in it? Right. So, Bloodline was already putting a polyester core through their material. So he ended up putting a HMPE core through the center of that, and he called it BOA ice. But what that allows us to do is we can put about 25 to 30% more serving on your bowstring.
Oh, okay.
Because it stands up and it stays round. It doesn't flatten out.
Right.
Because it has a core running through the middle of it. So if I can put more more serving on your bowstring, we're mitigating any kind of serving separation issues.
Yeah, for sure. And it's
stacked up round and it stays tighter.
Right. And where you knock your arrow as well, it won't flatten out either if it has a core in it.
So we use a completely different material for the center serving. We use a material called power grip, right? Because you want that center serving because it's doing this all the time, right? You bring it to full draw, it's like this. You let it go, it's really flexing. So the power grip is made by BCY, and it does exactly what it says in its name. It grips.
Right.
And it stays round, and it's a braided material, but it's got a like a resin coating.
Mm-hmm.
So it burns really nice, and it's just really abrasion resistant and really tough. So that's why we use that material in that location.
Okay, so you use 2 different servings depending on where it is on the string.
Typically 3. So if you look at your end loop material, that's a 008 material. The end servings is a BOA ice material, and the center servings a power grip.
Wow, there's so much that goes into it, to build a real quality string. Like it's so much. Did you learn a lot of this from your dad? Like I
did. I did. This is back in the day where bows still had steel cables, right?
Yeah,
the cables were actually made of steel.
Yeah.
So my dad he had a guy that was like molding these little teardrops, and fastening cable, and we would actually cut and crimp the cable, put the ferrules and all on them, when we did bowstring swaps, and the only string we were building was the actual string. But this is like when bowstring was made out of Dacron or polyester. None of the new fibers that we have today.
Yeah, it's amazing how far they've come, eh?
Well, I've seen the whole evolution of bowstrings. I mean, we went from Dacron to, the first eras of Dyneema. And then I've watched Dyneema go from like a Dyneema 65 to 67. And then they made like 10 different iterations of 67 and never changed it, like never changed the number to 75 and now to 99. This is all in what, 25 years?
Yeah, it's leaps and bounds ahead of what it used to be, eh? And like you say, you were there with the entire evolution from when they were, like you said, steel cables to now, whether it's all Dyneema, and it must be such a journey for you to go all from there, start to finish, and had been building bowstrings with your dad, and now you're all the way, and here you are now with the best bowstring on the market.
Yeah. Yeah,
you need to make like a display wall.
We've grown a lot. We've learned a lot.
You need to make like a display wall with all the different types of bowstrings.
We should. We actually
like
still have some of the original
right?
bowstring building equipment that we're going to put up in the window here.
Oh, that's cool.
But it's some rude stuff, buddy. It's like springs and, all thread and Acme thread.
Hand crank.
Oh, yeah?
It's like some pretty rude stuff, but
it's gnarly,
it's old, That's what
amazing.
we had.
Yeah. So does your wife hunt as well? And
she's warming up to the idea. She target shoots, but she's not a hunter yet.
Oh, okay. She's target. Right. Yeah. That's usually how it starts, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
She had never shot a bow until she met me, so so we're getting her into it. Both my girls shoot. My youngest daughter, she's somewhat handicapped, but she still loves to shoot. I gotta kind of help her a little bit, but she gets out there and has a blast.
That's awesome, man. I love that.
Yeah.
Are they dipping their hands into the family business making strings as well, or?
They're a little too young yet.
Are they? Okay.
One that's 9. So.
Yeah.
But they can tell you. They can tell you what bowstring fiber is. They can tell you what serving is. I mean, they know all the parts. So that's a start.
I feel like you're gonna have a bowstring dynasty. I feel like it's going that direction,
I said earlier,
right?
Guys, scaling would be nice, but it's not something that we look forward to.
It's hard, right?
As long as the wife and I can still manage it and still make it, that's what we're going to do. True mom and pop stop.
Yeah.
Yep.
But those are usually the best, man.
Yep.
They really are, yeah. And that's how you keep your quality.
Yep. Now we do have people that send us bows, and we have a local community here that know we're here, so they they drop their bows off. They they get work done here, and we've got people that ship their bows from all over the country to us to work on as well. So.
Oh, really? Wow, that's crazy.
You don't get a lot of that here.
No.
Yeah, I've just finished putting a Darton Veracity 35 together tonight. The guy looks like he bought it and then put it in a box and shipped it directly to us. I mean, I don't even think it's been shot.
Oh no!
But we just put brand new bowstrings on it, got it tuned up, and we'll ship it out on Monday.
That's beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah, unbelievable. Well, I guess
it's so far from shop to shop here that I find it's a big reason why there's not a lot of archers in Canada, not as many as you would think. Because it's so hard. If you're not right in a big center, and we don't have many big centers.
Yeah.
And even when you do find a good shop, they're usually only running a couple brands of whatever.
Yeah. We do some business with a guy, and I forget where he's at. Red Lake? Is that
Red Lake,
Alberta?
Yeah, that's in Alberta, probably. Yeah.
Okay, he's somewhere where there's not a very big community at all, and he's trying to start something there. So
have you found a big surge in archery in the last 8 years? Like the popularity has kind of spiked and.
So I haven't looked at the numbers in probably 2 years, but 2 years ago, archery was the fastest growing outdoor sport in the world.
Yeah, I bet it was.
So, you can even go backwards and look at like the Vegas shoot, right? The largest shoot in the world. And you can look at the entries, over the course of 5-6 years, and you can see that growth. I mean, it doubles almost every year. It's huge. The last time we went was 2 years ago, and I think there were somewhere around almost 4,000 registered shooters from every part of the globe.
Wow.
Yeah, there's not a country that's not represented.
Yeah, no doubt. It's we've noticed a huge spike in like archery activity, even here in Canada. Like it's gone through the roof now.
And the other big popularity is, public ground hunting. It's huge, right? It's people getting out. They're going to Colorado. They're going to Montana. They're going to Utah, Idaho.
Mhm.
They're going to go chase animals. That has grown astronomical.
Yeah.
I can remember, going to Idaho and just just waiting till I get there to buy an elk tag. And now you, if, when they go on sale, the over-the-counter stuff, if you're not sitting there online at 12:01 a.m., you're not getting a tag.
Oh, really? Hey, is that fast?
They'll sell out. The system will go down. I mean, they'll sell out in minutes.
That's unbelievable.
It's like a Taylor Swift concert.
It's crazy.
Wow. Good grief. Yeah, it's a wonderful sport, and I hope more people get into it. I really do think it's the best sport in the world, in my opinion. I love shooting my bow. I love getting out in the field to hunt. I love target 3D, all that stuff. Like I could do it all day. I really could.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Yeah, hopefully one day we can do it for a living. That's a little bit of a pipe dream, but we're trying.
Yeah. So guys, I know we're probably running on time, but we are actually going to start a somewhat of a podcast. We've got about 60 episodes planned.
Yep.
But we're opening it up to a lot of things like homesteading, because we do homestead here. We raise our own animals. We harvest our own animals. Cows, pigs, chickens. You name it, we have it.
Yep.
We do large vegetable gardens, and we harvest the vegetables and go through the canning. So, it's going to be a lot of homesteading stuff, a lot of, starting a company, running a company, keeping everything, flowing and moving.
Yeah, I love that.
So, we'll get into bowstring building and hunting and all that stuff, but we're not going to be focused on the one thing. Right.
Right. When are you planning on launching your podcast?
We're thinking in the next couple of weeks. That's why we
awesome.
Got all the equipment and stuff and went ahead and started getting that going. But the first episode or two are going to be kind of special, because they're going to be on, the A3 origin. Where did we come from?
Beautiful.
And it's going to be, the wife and I, and pretty much letting everybody know who we are, and where we come from, and the trials and tribulations that we went through getting to where we're at today.
That's awesome. I can't wait to listen.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Let us know any way we can help. Whatever we can do, we certainly will, man. I'm super excited to hear that.
Yeah.
Do you have a name for it yet?
Oh, I think we're going to call it like Getting Outdoors with Brent and Amanda, because that's awesome. What we do. We love to get outside and, plant food plots and just do the whole homesteading thing, the hunting, the fishing. I mean, like I said earlier, we've got roughly 3/4 of a mile of a blue ribbon trout stream in our backyard. We literally have 3/4 of a mile of river on our property. So fishing is a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So you basically kind of live off the land, like live off your farm, like self-sufficient.
We do a lot of meals that we eat. We kind of look at each other and go, this all came from here.
That's a beautiful thing.
Another chicken.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
No, that's a beautiful thought.
We slaughtered a steer this year. I think he netted almost 700 pounds in the freezer.
Yeah, no kidding.
Just beef. And then, we kill our deer. We typically raise 2 pigs a year. So we just harvested those guys last month. So we've got plenty of pig. Last year, I think we killed probably 60 chickens. So we filled the freezer with chickens, but we like to know what we're eating and where it came from.
I think that's the best thing in the world, man. If you can harvest it yourself and it all comes from your own hands and in your own ground, man, there's something to be said for that, I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then we did the vegetable garden, which we had corn and tomatoes and peppers and all your different root vegetables and collard greens and mustard greens and so we do that pretty good, and we, like I said, we can everything. The wife was she cooked the soup last night, and she was like, I put a little tarragon in it, but it was from last year's garden, so like all the herbs and stuff that we grow all that, dry it and powder it and make seasoning.
You do all that too, eh?
Yeah.
Wow. You really are 100% basically self-sufficient there.
Yeah, I mean we've got sorghum that's drying down in the barn here. We've got sunflowers drying. We've got I forget what amaranth.
Yeah.
So you know what amaranth is? A lot of people don't know what that is.
No, I don't know what that is.
But it's a big, beautiful red leaf plant that is just so delicious. But the grain head on it is, they call it the grain of the gods. It kind of reminds you of like quinoa.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so we've got some of that drying in the barn downstairs too.
Wow, that's awesome. That's like I say, man. That's like a dream of ours, like to have your own place where everything is just in house.
Before I walked over here, I was at the main house, and Amanda she had the pots out, and she was actually rendering down the deer fat from the last deer I killed, so making her own lard and everything else and canning it.
That's unreal. That's what we used to do with bear fat back home.
Yeah, we were supposed to live, right? Like, I understand we have advances in technology and we have conveniences and stuff, but like forgetting a lot of knowledge.
Yeah.
We get so wrapped up in the day to day, what's easy, what's quick, what's fast, you know. And I find that same thing relates to people buying bowstrings because they want it quick and they want it fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. They'd rather go to get the McDonald's version of bowstrings, you know, because they can get them quick and fast, than actually getting a good quality meal.
I would not.
No, me either.
I disagree with that way of thinking completely.
Yeah, I think a lot of the old ways of doing things is the right way.
Yes.
I really do. It's
so, you know, a testament to what your diet can do to you.
Mm-hmm.
So here's one. So I got in a rabbit hole and was reading and watching about gluten.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't like a lot of what I heard. So what we did is we cut, and the other one was oils like polyunsaturated fat, which is like in every vegetable oil, canola oil, you know, all those stuff. Your body can't, like, literally can't do anything with it, right? So it stores it as unusable fat, and so people they gain weight, they get fat, because your body doesn't know what to do with it. So we did two things: we cut gluten out, and we cut the polyunsaturated fats out. I lost 30 pounds in less than a month.
Just from that.
Just
from cleaning up your diet.
Just from cleaning up my diet. I didn't change anything, still ate like a hog, but just cut those two things out. Which one of them is really hard to cut out. I'll let you guess which one.
Gluten.
Nope.
No?
Well, I guess the other one's in so many things.
It's in everything that you eat.
Is it really?
Yeah. Polyunsaturated fats is in the bread that you buy at the store.
Yeah.
So the only real way to get away from it is to basically eat meat and vegetables.
Meat and vegetables. Yep.
That's it.
Meat, vegetable, potato guy. Yep.
Wow, eh? Do you find it funny, Brent, that like it's you remember when they would say, "Oh, eggs are bad for you. Don't eat too much red meat." All this and that. And now, if you talk to a lot of people, like it's a big thing to like be just a carnivore diet and just eat meat or just meat and veggies. And so many people feel so much better.
Yeah, it's like, you know, don't eat margarine because it's bad for you, you know, or it's the best thing in the world and now it's horrible for you. And they keep flip-flopping. But the only thing that stays true is eat meat.
Yeah.
And you know, fat. You know, they used to tell you, oh, fat give you a heart attack. Well, now fat is actually one of the more healthy things to eat.
Yeah.
You know,
yes,
it's just insane.
They'll even tell you to eat butter now.
Yeah, they tell you eat butter. Right. You know, butter's not bad. You know,
once upon a time, butter used to be like the arch enemy of everybody.
We kind of go down. I mean, we keep the bacon fat. You know, that's what we use to season up all of our cast iron with. I mean, you know, it's just we try to use everything that we produce.
That's beautiful, man. I think you live a beautiful life there. I think you've got it figured out, and that's probably why you're so happy and why things work out so well for you. You just, you know.
I wish one thing. I wish they would put more ribs on pigs.
I'm agreeing with that.
Yeah. I wish they would just another half a rack or something like that,
you
know?
Right. Yep.
It'd be great. Yep. On that note, folks, we're hitting an hour now. Well, and we want to thank Brent for coming on. We really appreciate you sharing everything with us and your story, man. That's really cool. It's awesome. And we can't wait to start shooting some A3 bowstrings. We're going to order up a set from you real soon.
Yep.
We're real pumped about that. And yeah, I hope you come on again. And we'd love to come on your show sometime if you'll have us, and just chat about some hunting and talk archery.
Absolutely, guys. And hey, look forward to some of the testing we're going to do in house on the different fibers that we're going to show. You're going to be very surprised at what you see as far as longevity goes. Kind of the abrasion. But we're also going to test some servings and some other. It's not just going to be fiber. It's going to be a whole barrage of things. So
Okay.
It should be a good test, a good solid test.
Beautiful. All right, folks. Thank you very much for listening. Go check Brent out over at A3 Bowstrings and stay tuned for his podcast. Brent, go ahead.
Full draw 10.
Yep.
That'll get you all the users 10% off.
Beautiful.
Boom, look at that.
You heard it. Full draw 10, folks. Thank you very much again, and good night.
Not shy.